Hey guys, my name is Michael John, and welcome to Holeistick. Thank you so much for purchasing. As you'll see from the reactions, this is one of the strongest bill penetrations that you're ever going to learn. This is something that I've been working on for some time. I have a lot of inspiration from different bill penetrations I've been performing since I was 12 years old. Okay guys, so the main principle to Holeistick that makes this work is something that a lot of people don't know, and that is that on US currency, paper bills, whether they're 10s, 5s, 50s, 20s, 100s, it doesn't matter, the denomination. They're not actually made of paper like most people think. It's a combination of cotton and linen fibers, rag paper I believe it's called, but it's almost like a fabric. Now there was an effect by Richard Osterlin called the phantom knife. And so now with the phantom knife, essentially what you would do, it's based off the spirit knife, where the knife is shaped in such a way that you're essentially separating the fibers of the cloth or the fabric of the clothing that you're borrowing a shirt, so that you can give the illusion that you're penetrating the shirt with the knife, when really the fibers are just realigning. And by scratching it with your fingertip, you're realigning those fibers of the fabric, and it looks like the hole's restored, when in actuality it wasn't really a hole. And that is essentially this principle, but with paper US currency. So what I found through trial and error, I started with toothpicks. That was the main prop. And I found over time performing it, it just kind of felt small, but this was where the principle was discovered. And so what I found through performing, my first live test of this, they didn't have toothpicks at the restaurant. All they had were these wooden skewers. I think it was like the Hard Rock. And so I borrowed a skewer, and just in the moment was like, I'm just going to perform this and see how it goes. So I found with the skewers are my preference. This makes it much stronger because essentially the length of this skewer compared to the toothpick, you can see, I think psychologically, they're almost the same size, like they're almost the same thickness. The skewer is a little thicker. What I found when I borrowed a skewer from the restaurant in live performance, because they didn't have toothpicks, I found that the length of the skewer actually psychologically, it makes the spectator think that the hole is actually bigger than it really is. So let's get into it. This is the first bill penetration to my knowledge that requires no setup. There's no gimmicks, there's no tape, there's no glue, there's no switches, there's no special. All you need to do is borrow a toothpick or a skewer from someone or have it on you and borrow a bill, and no switches, like I said, and you can perform this. There's no parameters with this. It's kind of like Crazy Man's handcuffs, right? There's zero parameters. As long as you have the two props, you can perform it. And so let's get into how this works. You're going to borrow a bill, the denomination doesn't matter, and a skewer. These are in restaurants, you can carry them with you. You're going to take the bill, and now it doesn't matter really where on the bill you puncture. I like to go in the insignias or in the artwork, but I've had people just point to a spot and I can do it. I would be, depending on the bill, okay, so now you don't want a bill that's too crisp, like a very, very new bill, and you don't want one that's too old, that's like falling apart. You want one that's kind of on the middle side of used. And the reason for that is, you'll see. So you're just going to come down, and also the skewer, the sharper it is, the better. I know you can't always control that. It's not like the trick won't work if you get a skewer that's a little dull, but the sharper it is will really just help, because you're separating the fibers of the bill. So the sharper the skewer, the better. And also I like to lick my fingertips, and this is a natural thing as you're counting money, as Dalton pointed out to me. But you're going to lick your fingertips, and or you can lick the end of the skewer and get a little moist beforehand, or you can dip it in water or condensation. But I've never actually performed this with the moisture. This is just kind of like an extra subtlety that you can add. From my friend Richard Osterlin suggested this. So what you're going to do, like I said, the sharper the better. I'll just come down here and show it to you. We're going to puncture right down. And so now what I do is I hold the bill between my index finger and middle finger. I pinch, and then I'm going to pinch with my ring finger and my thumb like this, so that I'm going to stretch the bill, see now, so that the surface is taut for me, see, like this. So now this is tight in the middle here, and that's important. So you're going to take this skewer, and I'm going to hold the bill parallel like this, and you can even have the spectator pinch the bill if you want at this point, and this bill can be signed. There's no switches. You're going to take the skewer, and I like to go down in the key, but like I said, the location isn't like a huge deal. And you're just going to push straight down through slowly as you're holding the bill taut, and just slowly push, and you'll feel it pop. Don't let that scare you. This is real magic now. See, now you're going to start to push the skewer down through the bill, and you can actually feel the fibers start to separate there. Now as I come down, now you're super clean, right? Because there's nothing to find. You can turn it over and let everybody see. And you're then going to have the spectator, I have the spectator grab the end of the pick. I have the spectator grab the end of the skewer, and they're slowly going to pull that skewer out towards themselves. So they go ahead and do that, and there's no angle restrictions here. People can see it from anywhere. So this gets pulled out, right? So now from here, I like to take my finger and I go underneath it. Now if somebody has a cell phone, you just have them shine the flashlight on their cell phone, and I have them shine it underneath the bill so they can see the hole through it. It's not like necessary, but I think it adds to it. So you're going to flash the flashlight underneath so they can really see that hole. Like I said, it's not necessary, but I like to do it as an added touch because it's a really great moment at the end of the routine when they shine that flashlight again, as you'll see. So from here, they can see the hole. I mean, I guess you could even have them feel it, and they could lightly touch it if you want. I mean, I've never done that, but here you go. So you're going to take now this is the move here. This is like the really only, if you even want to call it a move of the routine. As you can see, as the bill is pulled out, there's pieces of the fabric that are now sticking out. You're going to come underneath with your middle finger over the hole, and now what you're going to do from underneath is you're going to take those little fibers and you're going to start to, with your fingertips, or you're just going to, with your nails, kind of tuck it back the way that it came. So you're reversing it from as you press from underneath like this. Now what you're going to do is your middle finger nail is going to come under the hole and just give it a scratch. You scratch the fiber, and now you're going to knead the bill. So you squeeze as tight as you can, very tight here, and you're going to just start wiping. And as you wipe, you can see that the hole has been restored. And like I said, you're just kneading it. So what I mean by kneading is you're kind of rubbing it back and forth. And like I said, a little moisture on the fingertips can help. You're just kneading it back and forth, squeezing very tightly. And like I said, using your fingernail to realign those fibers. And then I always take my fingertips like this and I run it across the bill, pull it taut, flip it over, pull it taut again. And now they shine the flashlight underneath and they'll see that there's no hole. And the bill is completely restored. And now you guys are going to probably think I'm crazy, but I like to take a lot of risks in my life, and I always let them keep this. I let them take it home. They can sign it. They always put it in they'll spend it, they'll put it away, they'll take it. People have busy lives, they're doing other things. No one's going to, I've never found anybody find this hole. Because if you look, there is no hole. Actually, there is no spoon. So I've never had anyone, if you see in the demo, you see one of the performances, they really burn this bill. Like they are really examining it as tight as they can look, and they're looking all around for it, and they've never found anything in all the time that I've been performing it. This just absolutely kills. It's very convincing. I think all of these things that are at play make this very strong. So like I said, you guys probably think I'm nuts that I let the spectator keep this, but the reason for it is because you really are aligning these fibers, and this passes extreme scrutiny. So most often they'll probably go home and spend it, right? So that's not a concern of mine at all. The whole point of this is that you're borrowing a bill on the spot, and you have a skewer you can borrow, or a toothpick if you want to go this way. And so I've never borrowed a bill and looked at it and had to give it back for another one when I've performed this. Maybe I just haven't had that happen to me yet, but if the bill is too old and worn as it's handed to you, or it's too crisp and brand new, you might run into some trouble as far as hiding the realigned fibers. But you can also use toothpicks if you want. This is how it initially developed with this discovery of the toothpick. But the thing is, it's a little, I think that the length of the skewer in the mind of the spectator, they'll think that the hole is bigger than it really was, I think. But if you want to do toothpicks, you can do that as well, and you can use different colors, doesn't really matter. I like the ones that come in the plastic because they're just a little sharper. And same thing with I'll demo it with the toothpick. You're going to go ahead and, same thing, I'll do on the side this time. You're just going to punch it into, I'll do the insignia. See? So this was my initial discovery, was with the toothpick. See, same thing, come underneath. And what I like to do is try to go pretty quickly, like when you're restoring this, you don't want to take too long. It's going to be a bit of a knack to get the timing right when you're performing this, so that when you put your finger over the hole, you're not keeping your thumb over the hole for too long. So it's about, once the hole is made and you pull or push the pieces back in, and then you squeeze, I always immediately wipe. Even if it's not completely restored yet, I go under with my fingernail and I scratch it, but I try to immediately get a visual of the hole, and then my thumb, and then boom, no hole. The less time that you allow to elapse between when they see the hole and when you put your thumb over it, the better. So like they see the hole, thumb over it, and then immediately pull, versus if they see the hole and you put your thumb over it and then you're here for too long and you're really, I don't think that looks as magical as the hole and then your thumb and then boom, no hole. And now from here you can fix it as you go. And I always do this, pull it taut, and really I think doing this really sells the fact that there's no hole. And like I said, it passes the light test. And now sometimes I found when someone shines the flashlight, not in performance, but I found in practice, there may be a little dot of white that can show through if you didn't realign the fibers enough. So you really want to make sure that after you do that initial wipe away, you really make sure that I'm saying squeeze hard and knead it back and forth. And if you have to wet the end of the pick or your fingers to help, but I've never had to do that in performance. Because the bills are newer and crisper, the fibers, they have a harder time, I think, aligning, is what I think it is. But maybe the moisture on your fingertip or the skewer would help with the crisper bills. So that's actually a way to go as well. But I wouldn't overthink this when it comes to the different types of bills. I always try to find one that's like a little in between old and new, but I've never been given a bill and then had to search for another one to perform it. I've just taken whatever bill was given to me and I've performed it, and it's killed every single time. So denomination doesn't matter. But if you are hesitant, maybe with some practice, you practice with crisp bills. Get some new bills and practice it. Practice with some really old bills and see if there's anything that you find. I'd like to hear from you guys about any pointers you might have about if you find something maybe that I haven't found that works better. Or also, what you can do is once you punch the hole through the bill, you can have them hold the edge of the bill like this, so that they can't say you're switching it because they're holding it. And you can even have them sign it. And you can even sign the skewer if you want, I don't know. But when you punch it through, and when you shine the flashlight and they see the hole, and then when you can even have them, once you restore this hole, I've had spectators immediately come and touch the hole, as you'll see in the performance video. The woman reached down and immediately touched the hole, and she went, "Oh my God," because it passes the field test. Like once you do this and you heal the bill, they immediately can touch you, say, "Here, feel, the hole's gone," and they're going to freak out. They don't feel the hole. That's why it's so hard to reverse engineer this, because they saw you borrow their bill and that they signed with no switch. They're holding it, and you put the skewer through it. They see all sides of it, nothing fishy. They pull it out, and they see the hole, and then they see that there's no hole. They touch it, they look at it, they can examine it, they can keep it. I don't think it gets much stronger than that. And so when I'm performing this, it really feels like real magic. It really does. Like, it's so clean. I don't even think about having a spectator sign it when I perform it, just because if I was really doing magic, that I wouldn't think to ask them to sign something. I would just do it, and you can do that with this. So here's some additional routines that you guys can play with if you're interested in this principle as more of a system where it's not just a bill penetration, but it can be more. So one of the things you can do is you can give them the bill and the skewer and have them go behind their back and punch a hole themselves. So they're feeling themselves punch the hole. They pull the skewer through behind their back and come forward, and you immediately take the bill from them and start healing it up as you're talking to them. And then what you show is, even though you went behind your back and you punched a hole and felt that, you'll see that it never happened. It never happened, and there's no hole, and you let them see that. And since it was behind their back, they didn't get a visual of where it was, so it makes it that much harder to reverse engineer this, because they felt themselves do it, yet you're showing them there's no hole, and they can sign it so they know you're not switching anything. And that's an approach you can use that my friend Paul Harris suggested, going behind the back. Another thing you can do is you can do a moving hole plot. So there was an effect called Fraud by Daniel Garcia where you're moving the insignia from one side to the other. So this is similar, where you're going to punch a pre-punched hole somewhere on this side of the bill. So I'll just do it like here. This would happen ahead of time. Just punch it, and you can even make it like a little bigger. You can kind of shake it around in there, twist it so you get it a little bigger, see? Like that. And you can kind of bend the fibers open and kind of pull them back so it opens up. See? Just to give it more of like a good size hole. And so now you're going to fold that back like this. So now that hole's hidden. And so hold it like this. You're going to take the skewer, and same as before, you're just going to punch a hole in the bill. So I'll just go up here. You can go in the artwork up near the numbers too. So I'll just punch there. Okay, pull that out. And be careful, obviously, not to flash this hole when you're doing it. I always hold it with my other finger underneath so it's still up here so it doesn't get flashed, and then you can pull it back. So after you've punched the hole from here, you're going to reach up with your thumb, and the same as before, you're going to heel the hole, as I talked about, but then you're going to pretend to drag the hole across, and you're going to bring it right down over the other hole that's been pre-punched. So it looks like you're moving the hole from one side of the bill to the other. And that's another approach you can apply this principle to that I think is pretty cool. So another thing you guys can do as a presentation for stage or platform, so you have a bill with a hole already punched in it, okay, that you're then going to show the audience, and you just put your finger over it and show the hole, or show the bill, sorry. You're going to crumple it into a ball and have a spectator hold it. And then you're going to take another bill, and you're going to openly punch a hole in that one. And then as you are crumpling the bill up, you're going to heel that hole. And then you're going to crumple it up and give the bill to that spectator to hold on that side of the stage. So when they open up their hand, they're going to find a bill with a hole in it. And you have the spectator open up their hand, and they're going to find a bill then there's no hole in that bill. So it's like a transposition of the bills instead of an effect with the holes themselves. The holes count as proof that the bill's actually changed places, and you can really use the stage and the space of the stage to make this play real big for an audience. And even with that hole small with the flashlight shined, and even if you have a close-up camera on stage, it can play. Yeah, so another routine that you can play with, believe it or not, is applying this principle to a book test. Now, I don't know if you know those kind of older books that you used to read in school, the chapter books like Lord of the Flies and that kind of thing, that are yellowed pages that are kind of older. And if you go to the bookstore and you feel for these older chapter books or in the library, or you don't use library books, but like when you go and you experiment with the older books, you'll feel the pages are kind of similar in fabric to this. Now it doesn't. I don't know if it necessarily works as good as the bills for like a whole restoration, but as far as a book test goes, you're going to take one of those books that has paper that's similar to this. The old, like the 80s, 90s chapter books. You're going to rip out a page from one of those chapter books, and you're going to punch a hole into whatever word you want to force. So whatever word on the page, you're going to punch a hole in it ahead of time, and then you can cover that with your finger as you're holding the page. And you're going to show the page to them, and you're going to give them the page and the skewer and go behind their back, and you're going to have them punch a hole in the page somewhere. So they're going to punch a hole, they're going to pull the skewer through, they're going to come back with the page, and so when you take the page back from them, you're going to heel up the hole that they just made, showing them the hole that you pre-punched into a specific word, which is now forcing that word on them. And you can do this with bills too. You can force numbers and serial numbers, you can force letters, you can force words on the bill, the little words. You could punch a hole into the word illegal, do the same thing. So you can force locations, you can force words with this principle because you're punching a hole and then you're healing another one, and so it works for these different ideas. So these are certainly things you guys can play around with outside of the open penetration. So I've been performing the bill penetration since I was like 12 years old. I just turned 37, so I've been doing magic for over 30 years now. I started when I was 7. Bill penetration is one of the first tricks that I was serious in magic about. It was called the Laser Pen Deluxe. I don't know if anybody out there watching remembers that. It was on a website called magicmax.com. This is way back in the early 2000s, and so I bought that effect. but it used a second pen. So you would have to do a switch of the pen, and it was basically the old magnetic classic pen. All the different bill penetrations I've owned all over the years, and they were all great and had their pros and cons to them. So those were all kind of in my subconscious, right, from all these years of learning magic. And then other methods like Hansen Chen, Phoenix, and Vanni Bossi, and Richard Ostland's Phantom Knife, all these different approaches to the object through bill, ignition, all those effects were in my subconscious. And I was at Pigeon Forge with my son Noah for his birthday. But so I had the toothpick in my mouth. So initially this was supposed to be like a linking card effect. When I was driving back from Pigeon Forge, it was a long drive back to Nashville, I was thinking about how I could come up with a bill linking effect where you're linking two bills together impossibly, and they could keep that as a souvenir. So it started with me like ripping out a square in the bill and trying to link something onto it. I had a bunch of different ideas and things, and it eventually led to all these inspirations and just kind of combining everything together and pushing envelopes. And have you all ever seen magic in person before?
Not really.
Not really? Does anybody have a dollar bill I could borrow? Or like a 5, 10?
That was
And,
amazing. Did y'all see the trick?
See? Can you hold that for me? What's your name?
Shayla.
Shayla? Can you sign your name on the bill? Great. And does anybody have a flashlight on their phone by chance?
Your phone?
Like a flashlight? If you just shine the flashlight real quick. Yeah.
Oh my God. Doesn't want to work. Okay.
Yeah, then just hold it like that, it's fine. Great. So check this out. I'm going to borrow that. So you agree that's the only signature on a bill that looks like that, right? I can't duplicate that. You'd recognize it again if you saw it as yours, yes? What's your name?
Rashida.
Rashida. Can you grab the one and just hold it like that and don't move? So watch, check this out. Here's the idea. If I just feel that. Is that fair? Let go. I'm going to show you. Yes?
Yes.
Can you go ahead and slowly pull that out? Yeah. Fair? Shine the flashlight underneath so you can see the hole. Hole?
Yes.
You can turn it over now. Check this out. I'm not going to do anything.
Get the freak out of here.
What happened?
Get.
What?
So now, but what? Now the idea, there's a test though. We have a test. Remember in the beginning? Shine your flashlight underneath.
Get the. Oh! Oh my gosh.
Take that back.
What happened?
Can I just borrow that from you right quick? So check this out.
Look behind you.
What's your name? What's your name?
Whitney.
Whitney. Can you sign your name, Whitney, on the bill? You can sign it on the back.
Holy.
Nice and big across the bill.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. So you agree, there's no other 5 in the world that looks like this. I can't duplicate that. Yeah, is that fair?
That's what they say.
That's what I say, but
Okay,
do you
I
believe
believe
me? It's fair? Check this out. This is a skewer. Check it out. It comes in with the drinks. We got it at the bar. Yeah? Fair? Don't look too close in. I'm sorry. Is it good? All right.
Okay.
So check this out. Can you go ahead and just pinch the 5 right there? No, and hold on to it. You see? Watch close. Look at nothing in my hands.
Right.
Fair? You can let go. See that? Can you grab that and just pull that out?
Pull it out.
It's fair. You can take that. Can you shine the flashlight under the? Can you shine the flashlight? Yeah, underneath. You can see the hole.
Yeah, I see the hole.
Okay, you can turn it over now. Check this out. Here's the idea. I'm not going to do anything. Watch. Yeah, there's no hole. So now the idea, go ahead and take that flashlight and just shine it underneath. See? right?
Hold on. Okay. All right. Now wait a minute. Well, okay. I don't even know what side of the 5 I'm looking at.
It's really 100. It's an illusion.
That is tight.
Thank you.
Okay, that was a pretty good one.
Thank you.
Oh, that's what's up.
I bet you $5 if I put some paint
But you
on
can
it.
see, like, you can even really feel that. Is that real
Can
hole
I
really
do
gone,
it?
right?
If I did it,
Yeah.
would it do it?
Sorry, it's on that side. Feel right there.
If I did it, you think it'll do it? Probably not. I
the
can shake
magic.
it a little bit.
You can keep that. All right, guys, thank you so much for purchasing Holeistick. I hope you enjoyed. As you can see, there's a lot you can do with it. I hope that you'll experiment, make it your own, and of course, practice. And if you enjoyed this product and you enjoyed my work, please leave a review. I hope that you guys enjoy this piece as much as I have. Until next time, peace.